Every single minute that we breathe on this pale blue dot, we are faced with decisions. Not just trivial choices, but moral ones, existential ones. Every moment is a fork in the road. How will you spend your time? Where will your money go? What will your energy build, support, or destroy? With whom will you associate? We are not spectators. We are participants in the construction or deconstruction of a better world. And most of us, whether we admit it or not, do have a choice. We choose what kind of relationships we want to invest in. We choose what kind of politics we want to support. We choose whether to feed the hungry or to turn away. Life is breathtaking in its brevity and its potential. It's chaotic, fragile, and for lack of a better word, it's a gift. And yet, even in the face of that gift, people routinely waste it. Let's talk about morality. It's a slippery word, hijacked and abused by all kinds of ideologues. But here's a definition we should all be able to agree on. Any good system of morality will prioritize the needs of the living over the fantasies of the dead. Full stop. If you believe that human suffering actually matters, if you believe that sentient life deserves dignity, then this should be painfully obvious. If you agree with that premise, keep watching. If not, you need to take a hard look at your moral compass. This brings me to the heart of this video, the brutal, damning reality of Mormon church temple work. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints operates nearly 300 temples, with over 100 more under planning or construction. These are not churches. They are spiritual fortresses, esoteric, exclusionary, labyrinthian castles covered in gold leaf and guarded by worthiness interviews. Inside, hundreds of thousands of faithful Latter-day Saints perform watered-down Masonic rituals on behalf of the dead. This is what so many people consider to be a cult-like, disturbing part of the faith. But not just any dead. War criminals like Adolf Schmittler, sadists like Vlad the Impaler, and Holocaust victims, many of whom were Jewish and explicitly rejected Christianity in their life. But to the Mormon Church, that doesn't matter. In this sick worldview, their consent is irrelevant. Their beliefs while they were alive, well, they're going to be overwritten. They're posthumously baptized, endowed, and sealed in proxy rituals meant to grant them access to the Mormon version of salvation. What a tragic waste of human effort. But we need to return back to the core issue here. Every time someone steps into one of these gilded buildings, they are making a choice, a moral choice. They are choosing to spend hours, years, or even a lifetime on dead people rather than on living ones. But I need to bring you some alternatives. You could volunteer at a food bank. You could call someone who's lonely. You could offer shelter, education, or support to those in need. But instead, you're going to play dress up in a temple ceremony that serves no measurable good. That's not just unwise, it's immoral. And it's not just unfathomable amounts of time that's misallocated. It's money, it's wealth. Billions of dollars spent on marble flooring, gleaming celestial rooms, exquisite chandelier lighting, and polished granite baptismal fonts carried on the backs of 12 golden oxen. If you're giving your hard-earned money to the Mormon Church, this is what you're funding, at least in part. Not clean water, not polio vaccines, not disaster relief, but Masonic cosplay for the dead. And let's talk about the tragic waste of human labor. The human capital required to keep these temples running. These aren't just self-operating monuments. Every single one of these 300 temples and growing requires an army of volunteers and workers, ordnance workers, temple presidents, engineers, custodians, family file clerks, laundry operators, security staff, greeters, schedulers, name indexers, youth coordinators, and hundreds more. Multiply that by 300 temples and you're talking about tens of thousands of human beings giving millions or even tens of millions of hours annually, all devoted to keeping this engine of death-centered ritualism running smoothly. Then there's the genealogical obsession. Millions of hours logged into FamilySearch.org, hundreds of millions of records indexed, not to connect with the ancestors in some meaningful or historical sense, but to find names for proxy rituals. You're burning your precious, limited human life so that you can prep names for a made-up ceremony with no verifiable impact. If morality is rooted in reducing human suffering, or at least the suffering of sentient creatures, then LDS proxy work isn't just misguided, it's wrong. And let's not forget the ongoing costs here. These temples require hundreds of millions of dollars annually in maintenance and upkeep. Think of the landscaping budgets alone. Now ask yourself, if you prioritize manicured lawns and gold-plated baptismal fonts over starving children, you've embraced evil. That's not hyperbole. That's evil. Now let's imagine something different. Imagine if all that labor were redirected towards alleviating human suffering. What if those volunteers staffed food banks instead? What if that same number of retirees and youth were used to tutor struggling students, deliver meals to the homebound, or rebuild storm-battered homes, or even dig wells in water-starved regions? Think about it, the Mormon Church overnight would go from an insular, secretive institution with growing public distrust to a genuine moral beacon. It would regain relevance. It would earn respect. All it would take is the will to redirect the billions of dollars in tithing and millions of hours of misspent labor from the dead to the living. Now, some are going to say, I know what you're going to say, can't we do both? No, that's the coward's way out. That's just moral laziness dressed up as balance. No, you can't do both. And here's the most important sentence of this video. Are you listening? You can't do both when your resources are finite, not when millions go without clean water, without shelter, and without dignity. Every dollar has a destination. Every hour spent is one that you can't get back. If you spend that time and money on rituals for the dead rather than on resources for the living, you've made the wrong choice every single time. And perhaps most damning of all, there is zero evidence, none, that the dead need your help. There's no data, there's no observation, there's no testable claim that the dead out there are needing signs and tokens to pass angels at heavenly gates. It's fantasy. It's myth. It's LARPing with eternal consequences. Now, what we do know, what can be proven, is that children are dying of preventable diseases every day. Women in the global south are walking 10 miles a day for water. Billions live in crushing poverty. That's real. That's measurable. And when you walk right past them on the way to your sanctimonious temple session, you are complicit in their suffering. And here is the final irony. Even according to Mormon doctrine itself, all temple work will be done during the millennium after Jesus' spectacular return. So if you believe in the second coming and the 1,000-year reign of Christ, you must concede that proxy work can wait. On the other hand, the living, they cannot wait. So if you're faced with a choice, $1 to spend, an hour to give, will you build another castle to the sky? Waste another hour in meaningless rituals? Or will you offer a loaf, a fish, or a lifeline to a fellow living, breathing human being who needs your help? Allow me to close with one of the most urgent and humane reminders in all of Scripture. Words not from me, but from Jesus himself. Let the dead bury their dead.